is right like black and white. But I can't deny it's hard to decide. I know why it's wrong, I know why it's right like black and white. But I can't deny it's hard to decide. If you ride with me, don't gotta work for the both of us. Put you in the driver's seat. Don't gotta hurry, never give up. When you ride with me, don't gotta worry when you come along. Put you in the driver's seat. Gotta hurry on, 'cause we stay in control in the name of love. if you're right with me. Don't gotta work for the both of us. Put you in the driver's seat. Don't gotta hurry in the middle of. When you got with me, gotta worry when you walk. Put you in the driver's seat. Gotta hurry on. 'Cause we stay in control in the name of love. I'm losing myself tonight. Losing myself, I'm losing myself tonight. I want you. I want you. I want you. First saw you, girl, you took my breath away. that power, girl. You got me on my knees to pray. I just saw your man the other day. Can't stop thinking what we did last week. I don't want to even play pretend. Your love makes me feel so free. Oh, you drive me wild, girl. You style, dreaming of you in the night, dreaming in the spotlight. Oh, you drive me wild, girl. You style, dreaming of you in the night. You drive me wild. I was never one for breaking rules. Give me a whole new me. Oh, trust, passion under candlelight, roses in the doorway, every need and pleasure. Once again, those long nights. I just saw your man the other day. Can't stop thinking what we did last week. I don't want to even play pretend. Your love makes me feel so free. Oh, you drive me wild, girl. You style, dreaming of you in the night, dreaming in the spotlight. Oh, you drive me wild, girl. You style, dreaming of you in the night.
Shalom.
Hello?
One.
Yo, Paul.
One. Oh, wow. Oh, hi, Adiola. How are you?
Hi, Paul. Look at you looking good.
I'm looking good. You're looking better.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. Where you going looking so fancy, by the way?
It's the day 2 of the African Bitcoin Conference now.
Day 2 of what?
The Africa Bitcoin Conference.
Oh, it's today?
It's today. You didn't know?
No, I did not know.
They're already here.
I don't think so. Let me go and check.
You sure? Go and check. Go and check. Go and check.
Hold on, let me check.
Be fast, be fast, be fast.
Oopsie.
What? They're there?
They are here. Everybody's father, mother, and uncle. Everybody is seated.
Can they hear us?
I don't think they can hear us.
If they can hear us, they should clap.
No, they cannot hear us.
If they can hear us, they should clap.
What?
Oh my God, they can hear us.
Oh my God, they are clapping. I think they can hear us.
I think you should go.
You go. You go.
I think you should go.
No, you go.
You go.
You go. You.
Let's-
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of
The Africa Bitcoin Conference.
Once again, it's your girl Adiola and
Paul the Black AK. How you're doing today? I see you, Janet.
yesterday was fire.
Yes, it was amazing.
Yesterday was good, guys. Did
Right?
you guys have fun yesterday?
Yes.
Was anybody inspired? Yes.
I think yesterday's conference was amazing because for me, it really took a lot for us to be here. A lot of people learned a lot of stuff and it was amazing. I think somebody else is trying to disturb our intro in the background.
Enemies of progress. Who was that?
So what do we have planned for today?
Oh, today we have a lot in stock for you guys. We're going to talk about so many topics today, including mental health in Bitcoin.
Yes.
I'm really curious about that.
I am so surprised we're discussing mental health in Bitcoin. But then when you have Bitcoin at 120 today and tomorrow is at 60, you
imagine?
definitely need to have some mental health discussions.
You do need that.
But apart from the
Who are
mental
some of the
health,
speakers?
yes, I have some amazing speakers for us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Obimos will be on stage today.
Yes.
A round of applause for him. Ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen, KG will be on stage today. If you don't know KG, you need to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric will be on stage today.
Yes.
If you don't know, Lorraine Marcel will be on stage today.
Yeah, Bitcoin Dada.
It promises to be amazing, and we have a lot of breakout sessions too, so always be ready for that. Also, some housekeeping. Remember, the exits are behind you. The restroom are also outside. Please, if you are giving 10 minutes for coffee, it's 10 minutes. I beg. We had to wait for you guys to come here on time so we could start early. And if you're giving the time for lunch, it's also free. Lunch is not free, rather. If you're giving the time for lunch, please take advantage of it and also be back on time so we could continue with the event. And we have a lot set. And I can't wait to get started. So who are we having up first?
Well, to start us off today, guys, is none other than the amazing convener of this conference. This woman who has brought us all together, Africans from different African countries on the continent, as well as in the diaspora, as well as friends and lovers of Africa. This woman has brought us all together. You know, I always tell people, I said there's African events and then there's Farida's event.
Before we even bring that up, ladies and gentlemen, once we get started, we don't want to have many disturbances going up on the back. So while Farida is up or before she comes up, we would love for you guys to text us your friends, the Mauritian group chat you created, the friends group chat you created, everybody on Signal, WhatsApp, wherever you might be. Please send them a message so they should start coming because we have started.
Yes. And so this woman has raised the bar so high, the standard so high that all I could aspire and aspire to be when I grow up is to be like Farida. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's stand up and welcome to the stage Farida Naborema.
Thank you.
She will be talking to us about the future of ABC. Thank you so much, everyone. Where is the beautiful Miss Farida?
welcome to day two. I heard that a lot of you were partying so hard last night, which is why we're starting an hour late. But in the end, it is all part of ABC, the mingling, the joy, the happy moments, the partying. So I hope you're having a good time so far. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time today, because I heard a lot of people had flight delays and only got in later tonight, yesterday, you're welcome to the Africa Bitcoin Conference. I think this is the first time and probably the last that I get to welcome you twice at an African Bitcoin Conference. So I want to begin with appreciation. Let us take a moment to actually look at the energy, the brilliance in this space, and acknowledge the growth that we have seen in terms of how the Africa ecosystem has improved over the past the past couple of years. Almost 5 years ago, this conference was nothing but a dream. Today, it has become one of the most vibrant spaces on this continent where we come to learn, to build, to share, and to dream with Bitcoin. So please take a moment to acknowledge that growth and let us give a clap for ourselves for the hard work. For the hard work that we put into building this beautiful movement. And I want to acknowledge that this is a beautiful moment. And I hold this with a big gratitude. But beauty does not equate silence. And for a long time, I have felt like I was compelled into keeping silent over some of my observation in our ecosystem. Too often in our ecosystem, we live inside a bubble, most particularly as African Bitcoiners. We avoid difficult conversations because we don't want to upset someone, we don't want to be cut off from certain spaces, and we don't want to be taken out by X, Y, or Z. So we smile, even when our conscience sometimes is restless. We applaud, even when we know we should question. We hide our discomfort, even when we should be speaking truth to power. But Bitcoin was born from rebellion, not complacency. It was born from a yearning for liberty, for freedom. And we are not doing service to Bitcoin by avoiding the tough conversation. It is important for us, Africans, to understand and to be driven by the values that led to the creation of Bitcoin in the first place. These values must guide us and must guide everything we engineer, build, or create as a community. Not greed, not vanity, not power, and definitely not ego. And if we, the Bitcoiners of Africa, cannot rise as the defenders this continent needs, then we have betrayed the very spirit of Bitcoin. We Bitcoiners love to say Bitcoin is freedom. But we must ask ourselves some questions. If the donor funds disappear today, are we still free? And are the people we claim to be educating any freer? If there are no immediate rewards for the work we are doing, no recognition, are we willing to continue carrying them? I am not saying that we should refuse resources. Far from that, we need them more than ever to be able to channel the energy into the work that we are doing. But funding must not strengthen dependency. It must actually strengthen our autonomy. It must build dignity, not misery. And it must free people, not trap them. Those thoughts have lived in my heart for a while. And over the past years, I saw a lot of projects popping up in there. And I salute the effort that was put into many of them. But I have to be honest and also notice that we are replicating the model of the NGOs that you have seen popping up right in there 20 years ago on the continent, pushing for agendas that are not necessarily meeting the needs of our community. I saw people copying ideas, creating any random project and adding Bitcoin as a decoration. I saw exploitation. I saw a space that sometimes felt extractive instead of liberating. And slowly the excitement I once had turned into fear and worry. But I never stopped believing Bitcoin. Actually, I believe in it today more than ever, because I know the suffering that our people face and how Bitcoin can change that. I know the selfishness of our politicians and our leaders in most of these countries who are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, but killing 20 years old to cling to power after spending half of their life ruling as president. I've seen the way our countries are falling apart with conflict, whether it is in Tanzania, in Congo, in Cameroon, in Mali. Our people are subjected to repression and oppression in every corner. Our people never really get a moment of respite. Whatever we build as Africans is destroyed again and again, whether by cruel politicians who cling to power, by conflicts that tear communities apart, or by broken economies that are buried under debt and that weaken our currencies, wiping away our efforts and our years of savings and work. So here we start over and over again as a continent. We rise, we rebuild, we gather strength, and still the ground shifts beneath us. And all we can do is keep hoping that one day our efforts will not be erased, and hoping that our children will inherit something sturdier than the struggle that we have gone up with. So I want us to move beyond the surface. I want us to look beyond the slogans and celebrations. I want us to ask ourselves with sincerity and humility, are we truly creating change or are we staging it? Are we building something meaningful or are we performing progress on social media and conferences? Are we liberating people or are we entertaining ourselves while our continent sinks under crisis? Are we serving communities or are we serving our own visibility? This is not judgment, far from that. It is an invitation, a call for introspection. I invite us all to evaluate our contribution to this space, to examine whether our actions reflect the values we claim to defend, to ask whether our work is anchored in truth or convenience. And in French, we say, qui aime bien, châtie bien, which means the ones that loves deeply speaks harshly. And everything I say today may sound harsh, but it comes from a place of care and a place of love for this continent and love for this community. I have felt in recent years that our Bitcoin space efforts are losing their true essence. They are losing their moral foundation and their ideological grounding. We copy and paste the ideas of people from other parts of the world. I am not judging them. On many points, I agree with them. But for us, for our continent, we must ask a very simple question. What is the real meaning of liberation for us? We Bitcoiners watch crises unfold on our continent, in our countries, and we pretend we don't see them and we say nothing. We see violence, we see repression, we see injustice, and then we preach freedom while refusing to be involved in those liberation efforts. We behave as if we operate in a separate Africa. We live in a vacuum, an Africa that is disconnected from the suffering of our people, as if our work exists by itself. We avoid speaking about politics, yet we forget that Bitcoin is a political act. The creation of Bitcoin was emanated from the need to go against the existing monetary systems that have deprived people of their dignity and their freedom. Yet, some expect African Bitcoiners to stay on the surface, to engage only in the mechanical performance of Bitcoin, without touching its roots, without touching the truth. And because of that, we have not yet earned the right to say that Bitcoin is freedom. It is. We have to say it with our mouth, but we have not pushed for that freedom enough with our actions. Giving someone 5 cents on an app and calling it orange pilling is not liberation. It is not education. It is a performance and a very empty one. We cannot continue to withdraw ourselves from the conversations that speak to the roots of our oppression. We cannot claim to carry a tool of liberation while avoiding the very systems that oppress our people and while perpetrating the same models of domination that subjugated us in the first place. Bitcoin exists to free us, not to push us deeper into silence or exploitation. So I want us to pause here and recognize the tremendous work that has been done in this community. The growth we have witnessed is real. The creativity, the discipline, The brilliance, the courage, the sacrifices deserve to be acknowledged with gratitude. And many of you have poured your souls into this movement. So while I applaud how far we have come, I also want to challenge us lovingly, firmly, to go deeper, to demand more for ourselves, to stretch our imagination further than comfort allows us. Because our continent, deserves not only effort, but true liberation. And we are capable of more than what we have achieved so far as a community. These problems we are facing on this continent are too deep for us Bitcoiners to pretend everything is perfect and to act as if orange pilling alone will solve our structural issues and our broken systems. Solving these problems demand honesty. It demands courage, not illusions, not comfort, not rehearsed optimism. So I am calling all of us to evaluate our stance in this space, to evaluate our position, to understand that what we are up against is big and enormous. And if we want to profit from Bitcoin, then we must profit from Bitcoin while also doing the work that Bitcoin was created to do, achieving freedom. We have to advance financial freedom. We have to strengthen sovereignty, to restore agency to our people, to our communities, to institutions, to our states. It is the first currency designed to serve humanity rather than government or corporation. A currency free from interference, free from capture, free from manipulation. So we cannot claim to be Bitcoiners, then run away from the responsibility that comes with it. We cannot claim to build in a space while staying away from the vision that gives this technology its purpose. This responsibility is ours to uphold. And in the midst of all of this, I must hold myself to account as well. I must reflect, reassess, and redefine where I want to contribute to ensure that I contribute with clarity and honesty. Not because I believe Bitcoin is less important, but because I believe in Bitcoin so deeply that I am willing to take the risk of choosing the harder path, the path that ensures we do not waste this tool, this treasure, this force that brought us here and moved so many of us across oceans. I do not want us to turn this tool into performance. And during this process of self-assessment, I have come to make a decision about where I want to stand in this space and what role I want to play. And it is in the spirit of what I want to it is in the spirit of this that I want to officially inform you that as of today, I step down as a director of the Africa Bitcoin Conference. I want you to know that it is not a departure. I am not quitting Bitcoin. It is a repositioning. It is a transition. This conference has played an important role of bringing us together and shaping this ecosystem, and I am proud of what it has achieved. That work must continue. This gathering must remain a space for driving change and making impact, but we must reorganize better. We must grow with intention and align the purpose with the purpose that brought us here. Now, with gratitude and real hope, I wish to introduce to you someone special, someone that I consider a friend who has been here from the beginning and who has supported us from the beginning in this journey. Please join me in welcoming the new director of the Africa Bitcoin Conference, Nabila Fash.
Heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will get there. Boom, boom, dee boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, dee boom, boom. It will be hard, we know that the road will be.
I ask you to support Nabila, to guide her, to stand beside her, and to grant her the same grace that you have given me. Offer her your patience and your kindness because she deserves it. And she will need it because running this conference, believe me, is not simple. This conference must continue, but it must continue with courage, with integrity, and with purpose. Thank you all so much for everything. It has been an honor to share this journey with you. Every exchange, thank you. Every exchange, every difficulty, lesson, and challenge has prepared us for what comes next. And as we step into this new chapter, remember this: Bitcoin is not here to decorate our activism, it is here to sharpen it. It is here to challenge us to go deeper, to stand firmer, to name the truths we avoid. And if we commit to that path, we can reclaim our dignity, rebuild our sovereignty, and open a future that is not written by our oppressors, but by ourselves. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I think she deserves better. So everyone on your feet, please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry if my voice shakes because I'm gonna wear a shoe so big that I don't know how to fit it in. So bear with me. Good morning again. Okay. Today feels like a movie I never thought I'm gonna stare in. Because when I joined the African Bitcoin Conference, I didn't come in as an expert. I didn't walk in with all the answers. I came in with nothing but passion, a heart willing to learn. I was the one sitting quietly in the corner, absorbing every word, asking myself, can I really find my place in this world? And now, 4 editions later, I stand here as the executive director. Not because I knew the most, not because I had it all figured out, but because purpose has the way of leading you exactly where you need to be long before you understand why. Today, as I stand here, I feel the weight of every step that brought me to this moment. To my sister Farida, it's not, oh God, I'm sorry. It's not every time you find someone that gives you the chance, that tells you you can do it. Like, you guys can see the team up here. We're not just team, we're family. So, thank you. So when you see us, we don't just call ourselves by name. We say bro, we say sis. So I found the sister in Farida. Your trust in me is something I will never take lightly. You didn't just hand me a role, you handed me a legacy. A legacy you built with courage, sleepless nights, pains, tears, and a fierce belief in Africa. I honor that. And I promise you, I'll carry the flame with everything in me. To the ABC community, our partners, delegates, every one of you. Most of you witnessed my evolution in real time, from trying to figure out Bitcoin to the woman standing before you today, ready to lead one of the most important movements on this continent. You didn't just watch me grow, you lifted me, and that is a debt I'll repay through service, excellence, and unwavering commitment. My vision for ABC is very simple: bold, expansive, unapologetic. I see ABC becoming the epic center of African financial transformation, a place where a young woman in Accra a developer in Nairobi, a student in Kigali, and a trader in Lagos all feel seen, connected, and empowered. A place where knowledge becomes freedom, innovation becomes opportunity, where Africa doesn't follow global conversations, but Africa leads them. And my mission is this: to bring more voices to the table, to create spaces where beginners and experts walk side by side, to make ABC the bridge between what Africa dreams and what Africa builds. Today, I am very emotional because I know what it feels like to doubt yourself, but I also know it feels like to rise anyway, to grow anyway, and to say yes to a destiny that scares you because you know it's yours. So let this moment be a message, not just about me, but about all of us. You don't have to start strong. You just start and stay. Purpose will meet you on the journey. Thank you for trusting me with this role. Thank you for allowing my journey to unfold in front of you. And thank you for giving me the honor of leading ABC into its most powerful chapter yet. Africa, this is our moment, this is our movement, and this is our story, written by us, led by us, and owned by us. Africa's time is not on the horizon. Africa's time is happening now. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Hello, hello. Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for ourselves once again. Wow. Where do you go from there now? Where do we go from there? Where do we go from there? I mean, I've been with the conference since year one, and it's kind of like the first time, or rather, getting into Bitcoin and expressing Bitcoin for the first time. ABC conference was one of the first places I also got to MC as a Bitcoin MC. So I'm not really an emotional person, and I don't want to mess with my energy for this event. So I'll go and cry later. So if you want to see me cry, just come to Labodeni's there. We'll host a major event for that one. Paul crying. Even my house. Anyways, proof of fall, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We have to shake it off because it's only for a good reason, and it's only going to make the conference get better. I believe in the principle of Nabila and how Farida herself has been able to work it. If you know you've been at the conference since the year one, you would have seen that Nabila herself has been here from the beginning. So I'm sure amongst the hands that were available, Nabila was one that was chosen. So please, a round of applause for our new director, Nabila Fash. And with that out of the way, we will be moving on to our first lightning talk for today. This topic is Owned by No One, Building Private Communication on Nostra. The word that is hard to pronounce, but everybody uses it, Nostra. Ladies and gentlemen, this talk will be held by the man whose name describes how he presents himself. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we bring up on stage Max.
Thank you very much. I'm extremely excited to finally be part of the African Bitcoin Conference. I missed the last 3 years, so even more excited to be here. And there's a great reason for why we're gathering. We're celebrating one of the most monumental achievements of humankind, a money that is owned by no one. Right? This is such a groundbreaking idea that it is earth-shaking with the cry of joy and delightment of those who lived under monetary tyranny and slavery for centuries, decades, and millennia. Right? We have it in us now to have a system that we can use to receive and save and send money with no one being the master over us. But have you ever asked yourself then, who owns your private conversations? Right? Because where we're coming from in the fiat world, every app has a master. Right? There's someone who controls the server, someone whom you have asked for permission to create your account, to create your identity. Someone holds your data, And that data can be deleted, withheld, black-backed without you even knowing about it. And someone can always change the rules. Someone can rug pull you and change the system that you got so used to. And that is obviously fragile, right? And we know this. Telegram can be compromised. They can read every message that you're sending there. WhatsApp has already changed the rules. Right? They promised to keep it a secure end-to-end encrypted system, but that trust was broken. And so the founder of WhatsApp spent millions of dollars to create the Signal app, right? Something that upholds the vision that he started WhatsApp with. But even Signal can be shut down. And this happened not so long ago, when overnight, Signal just stopped working for all of us. And that is a very harsh wake-up call. Do you see the pattern yet? It's a pattern that Satoshi warned us. We keep building the same trap. And the cypherpunks know this. There is a deeper problem. Trusted third parties are security holes. And centralization is a single point of failure. We need to fix this. So the real question is, what if we would not have to trust anyone? What if we could move from trust to math? What if we could have a protocol, not a platform? And that is not just the promise of Bitcoin. That is the promise of Nostr as well. So why does Nostr work so miraculously? Because you don't need to ask for permission to create your account. You don't need to ask for permission to use a centralized server to keep your data. And this means there are no gatekeepers that can stop you from spreading the word that you're so passionate about. But there's a missing piece. Nostr provides a miracle technology for broadcasting our ideas to the large planet. And that is as groundbreaking as Bitcoin itself. If they cannot censor our voice and shut us down, then that alone is world-changing. But if you think about it, how often are you actually on stage broadcasting your message to the world? Not so often. Much more frequent do we have private conversations. Conversations that we choose to just share with one person or a small group of our friends. And so we can do this as well. And that's where this cute guy comes in. Now we have the Marmot protocol. And that is a protocol for enabling the same use cases as Nostr, but not for public conversations, but for private conversations, where we choose whom to say and what to say to them. So this is end-to-end encrypted group messaging over Nostr. Right? We have it in such a way that there are no servers that can read your messages. Right? That alone is groundbreaking. But also, no servers know who are in this group. And we know that they kill people based on metadata. And there's no server that can kick you out. Privacy is at the core of censorship resistance. Because if the adversary does not know who you are, where you are, what you have, and with whom you're interacting with, then how is he ever going to shut you down? The guarantee of the Marmot protocol is that even if every single relay operator, every operator of the server is malicious and trying to get you, he still cannot read your messages. Imagine that. And that is exactly what we're building with White Noise. It is a chat app that is more than just an interface to a single backend server, where you have to ask for permission and give your phone number just to sign up to create an account, where one server could just take you down. No. This is a messaging app that is built on top of a protocol, and that will scale to many hundreds, thousands, or more of participants in a group. And now you can securely and reliably chat with each other, knowing that this conversation channel will remain open even in the most dire of circumstances. And the most exciting thing is, this is much more than just a chat app. Because Nostr is much more than just chat. You can do so much with Nostr. This idea that you control your identity and you authenticate yourself to your friends and you can prove to them that this is exactly what you said. This is so useful for more than just chats. Now you can share encrypted files with a group of people, like videos or documents. Right? Now you can trade and have a marketplace fully private without any surveillance, where only your friends see the goods and services that you're offering. We can organize under even the most heavy of repressive of regimes right, with a bunch of different tools. We can consult our patients or our clients in a way that they are protected. Right? We need to make sure that the people whom we serve are not exposed to the authoritarians that try to stop these systems. And you can manage IoT devices, chatbots, and so on. Because this is not only a protocol for humans, it is a protocol for computers as well. And as you say, as I said earlier, right, I mentioned the Marmot protocol before I mentioned my own app. And that's because I don't care that much about white noise. Right? This is just a couple, like me and my friends basically, building this small little app. And that in and of itself is not groundbreaking. What is groundbreaking is that for the very first time, we have an interoperable, open standard for creating encrypted communications among a group of people. This means that you, a single developer out there, can build an app that all of a sudden talks with my app. Right? Imagine if a WhatsApp user and a Signal user and a Telegram user could all together have a chat app. Right? And all of a sudden, there's no longer a gatekeeper that can tell you that, no, you're not allowed to create an interface that expresses your values and your ideas in the UX of the user. And you can take your identity with you. This is no longer a walled garden where if you want to leave Facebook, well, you have to start from scratch. Imagine if your identity, your relations, your content is no longer locked in a silo, but actually on an open network where anyone can display this type of information in a way that he sees fit. This is extremely powerful. So this is not another app. This is an ecosystem owned by no one. And that means that you have full control over it. But it is available to anyone, because nobody can stop you from creating a private key. Nobody can stop you from creating a new user interface that displays this data in a more purposeful manner. And this is our one shot to actually escape those platforms that have locked us in for the last 20 years. This is how we can reimagine the internet as a whole. So this is what we're building at White Noise. And I'm extremely excited to share this with you as an opportunity for you to not only use this application per se, but to build other applications that no one could have imagined before. Because all of the chat messengers that are used here on this beautiful continent were shipped by others. Right? They are imports from the Western world. And therefore, obviously, they're not true to the actual culture and ethos that you stand for. And you had no way of opting out of the system while still remaining in touch with your friends. And that is about to change. You can now create not only chat apps, but any app where a group of humans collaborate in a way that you see fit, in a way that you know that is culturally appropriate for you and your friends. And you don't need a big team. Right? Just recently, a couple weeks ago, during a sauna session, I told a friend about the Marmot protocol. And he was like, I have an idea for this. I'm working on a way that my child can create content and videos and share it with his friends. But obviously, I don't want this information to be public so that any pedophile could watch it. Right? So how about the parents or administrators of an encrypted group? And they can invite their child to post messages or videos in this group. But the parents have to approve on who can read and watch those videos. Right? And this is not done by trusting a server to please don't leak this data to anyone. This is done with math and strong encryption. So imagine the tools that you can build when you don't have to trust anyone. Imagine the tools that you can build when your users are not owned by anyone. This is how we end slavery in our lifetime. And we have a damn good shot at it. Come and join us.
Awesome. And he finished that within his time frame. Let's just make a round of applause for him one more time. An opportunity to build apps. In fact, any app that upholds our ethos. I'm so much in tune with that. You know, sometimes I listen to some of these conversations and I'm asking myself, why am I not a developer? Because I don't know. Anyways, and then I think about it actually, and I know why I'm not a developer. I don't have the mental capacity to even code 2 lines. I have so much mental stress alone being a graphic designer. You know, to add developer to it, it's crazy. Which is actually a perfect time to bring up on stage because behind every line of code that secures the Bitcoin network are developers who dedicate years of focus, discipline, and emotional resilience to an open source project that never sleeps. Ladies and gentlemen, our next lightning talk is on building with care, mental health, and sustainability in Bitcoin development. Please put your hands together as we bring up on stage Amity.
Hi. Let's see if my slides are coming. How are you guys doing? Cool. Great. Oh, not nervous. No, nothing like that. Yay. Wonderful. Okay. So, hi, my name is Amity, and I'm here to talk about sustainability in Bitcoin development. So my journey in Bitcoin really took off when I started contributing to Bitcoin Core. This is my first PR in January of 2019. And it took a lot of learning to get to that point, and that learning absolutely did not slow down. In order to become more of a contributor, I had to learn C++, which is not an easy thing to do, especially in your free time when you already are working a full-time job. And I had to learn all about the Bitcoin protocol, which is quirky and nuanced. And I also had to learn the social atmosphere of this decentralized development ecosystem. How do changes actually happen? Where do you talk to people? How do you get buy-in and learn things, etc.? And it, paid off. I learned a lot and I applied it and I got to do some really cool things. I helped improve privacy in the mempool and how transactions are broadcast. I updated the address protocol for the network at large, and I improved security for how, the network at large, and how connections are made. And this was really cool, and I'm quite proud. But why I'm telling you this right now is because what was even harder to learn, what was even harder to apply, were not actually the code itself. It was more of the conceptual things. For example, internalizing decentralization, understanding it as a concept and really being able to apply it took me at least 3 or 4 years to get the full extent of. Whether it's at the network level and technical applications, such as understanding how Eclipse attacks could work, or at a more social level of understanding how governance works, and backwards compatibility, consensus upgrades, as well as applying it in terms of the distributed thinking of how to have consensus in an adversarial environment. Understanding decentralization was very, very difficult. But today, I'm not here to talk to you about any of all of that. I'm here to talk to you about something that feels even more difficult to understand and is something that I'm working really hard to try to make progress on. And in order to get at that concept, I'm now going to ask you all a series of questions. So, raise your hands, make some noise if any of this relates to you. Who here considers attending a conference as vacation time? Yeah. Who here has come into Bitcoin as a second unpaid job? Who has a hard time asking for money, whether for yourself or for your projects? Yeah. Who's ever felt guilty for sleeping too much? What about these? Who feels like you've done enough this year? You can take the rest of the year off. Who's good at shutting off their computer at the end of the workday? Who's good at shutting off their brain at the end of the workday? So the question that I'm dancing around is this one that's very alive for me, and I propose should be alive for all of us. What does it mean to have a long-term mindset? In Bitcoin, there are some ways that we understand this socially. We talk about low time preference, and a lot of times this is in context of the price, right? Instead of looking at the day-to-day volatility and being emotionally attached to it, build for the long term, believe that this is going up year over year, decade over decade. And so we talk about that. But there's so many ways in which this question is really hard to grapple with and apply. Here's an example. Many of us wake up and you check your notifications, whether it's your GitHub inbox, your email. I know my Signal DMs are definitely where I do a lot of work. And whether intentionally or not, that feeds its way into my priorities for the day. What's going on? What do I need to attend to? Maybe there's a cultural moment that you need to respond to. Maybe you got an important message, that you want to prioritize. And so, you make your way through it. You try to get to it all, and sometimes it's overwhelming, and you're like, oh my God, I need a break. And where do you go? You go to social media. This is something that we all experience. How much you indulge in it or not might change, but we all experience this. Whether you want to attribute it to the hustle culture that we live in, or you want to recognize that social media apps are designed to exploit our neurochemistry to make it more enticing. This is the world we are in. And unless we create intentionality, focus time, deep work, it doesn't just magically happen. This is where we automatically fall into, are these cycles. But we need to intentionally create that time in order to do deep work. And it's of utmost importance because the question that is facing all of us is, are we building things that matter? Yesterday morning, kicking off the conference, we had some powerful talks from Farida, Femi, Hadia, Anita about what does it mean for this technology to not just be some idealized version of promise, but to be a realized practical thing that can be useful to Africans on this continent to actually be meaningful for reducing human suffering. It's not enough if we have this ideal, protocol that's censorship resistant. We need people to be using it in a way that relates to their day-to-day lives. And it's really easy for us to fall into the traps. How many times do we as Bitcoiners create content or speak to others that are already in Bitcoin? How easy is it for us to go around saying, oh, we have to educate people on Bitcoin because education is good and Bitcoin is good? Seems reasonable. But people don't need to know that the technology is censorship resistant. They need to know that their dictator can't just arbitrarily take it away. They don't need to know that it's decentralized. They need to know that it will be there tomorrow. And when we're building, we need to build in that way. Whether we're looking at education or we're looking at protocol improvements, we need to be moving the needle on making sure that this is true, not just today, not just tomorrow, but beyond our lifetime. We need to be building in a way that is generational if this technology is to realize any of its full potential. Oh, okay, yeah. So here's a metaphor of applying it. So hopefully, you can go on this thought experiment where, let's say Bitcoin or your project is an airplane, and we're trying to increase our impact. So we're trying to make a faster airplane, And this is our normal 2x mindset. Maybe we can improve the engine, or we can build better wings, build a faster airplane. And so the question is, what does it mean to make the leap into a 10x mindset, rather than making incremental improvements to actually have something that's an order of magnitude better? And sometimes that can be very uncomfortable. It can mean taking a short-term productivity hit to stop building a better engine and step back and say, how do I conceive of something bigger? And if you do this, then maybe you can figure out how to design a rocket ship that can actually take you to the moon. So if you take anything away from this talk, this is a little tidbit of try to apply this to your own life, whether it's your Bitcoin projects, whether it's even in your personal life. Where are you in a 2x mindset, and what does it mean to make the leap to a 10x mindset? And this is of utmost importance because we need to have a long-term mindset in order for us to realize the vision that we're all so believing in. And this question of what it means to have a long-term mindset is what I like to call a living question. It's most valuable if we keep asking it and we keep applying it in different ways. It's not meant to be answered in an instant, and definitely not in a 10-minute talk. But there are elements that we can know. For example, burnout is an indicator of being in a short-term mindset. If you're burning out, whether it's today or this month or headed straight towards there, but I've got a couple of years, that's a short-term mindset. That means that you can't maximize your impact as an individual, so how are you going to build technologies that last beyond your lifetime? And as an ecosystem, we have a disturbing amount of normalizing burnout. We wear self-sacrifice as if it's this badge of honor, and we need to stop. We need to prioritize our own individual sustainability so that we can prioritize the community sustainability so that we can build the long-lasting things. So if you are seeing burnout, whether it's in yourself or the people around you, we need to flip the script and go towards a long-term mindset rather than some short-term badge of honor, I care so much, that's why I'm burning out. That's not what's gonna help us make the impact that we need to have. Another one is the importance of having clarity around your priorities. As an individual or as a project, do you have crystal clear of what you're doing that is moving the needle? Because your notifications are not gonna tell you that. You're not gonna wake up daily and then be like, oh my God, right, this is the thing I need to work on that will take months, that will actually help improve censorship resistant. You need to set that for yourself and the people around you. A heuristic that I like is a way you can know if your priorities are clear is it easy to say no to things that you kind of want to do? Like rewriting the script, rather than having FOMO and the fear of missing out, do you have some JOMO, joy of missing out? Thanks so much for that awesome invite. I wish I could make it, but I have to work on this other thing. If you do, that's how you know your priorities are crystal clear. And it's not inevitable. It's not something that's going to magically happen for you. It's something that you have to do. So if you're interested in engaging more, Way is an organization, after years of being a dev, seeing my own issues, the issues of the ecosystem, we started Way as an organization to support the humans who are building freedom technology. That's our website, way.dev. This is a QR code of if you're interested to applying this 10x thingamabob, you can see this QR code, give us your email, we'll send you a template that you can work through to apply to help you identify what your priorities are. And if you're interested in learning more, we're gonna be doing a workshop tomorrow called Rewiring Burnout, the Neuroscience of Staying in Flow. It's gonna be super fun, I love it. It's all of the science brain stuff and really nerdy, but also very accessible and practical, and you should be able to apply it right away on your life. That's the workshop. It's very interactive. It's designed around that. So yeah, check it out. Thanks.
Awesome, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Amity. Maybe I'll meet her later. Is it Amity or Indians in the house? How do I pronounce it? Amity. Amity is good?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on right in. There's no time to waste time. The other talk that we are having right now is one of the amazing speakers I was waiting to see, because after I announce him, I'm going to go and sit down there too, so I can watch and listen to this man, because the last time I heard him speak, it was an amazing presentation and an amazing talk. I hope your hands are not too busy, because the next talk we'll be talking on will be on the innovation behind technology that has the potential to accelerate Bitcoin adoption across Africa, where millions still rely on basic GSM network. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we bring on stage to discuss offline freedom, sending Bitcoin beyond the internet, the man, the legend, KG!
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, so, hola. Hello, everyone. How's it going? I'm Kotatso Ngako, all the way from Mamelodi, South Africa. And yeah, I have slides, so if they can come up real quick. And yeah, I hope everyone is having a good day. So yeah, sadly, I will not be doing a technical talk today because, you know, I've already given a technical talk a few times already. So today I want to talk about the Harada method. If you actually live on the internet, you probably saw this tweet a few weeks ago, November 14. Los Angeles Dodgers won the baseball championship, and this tweet came up about how one of their star players basically made a goal for himself at the age of 15 to be the #1 draft pick when he goes pro, and he had a framework called the Harada method, right? So this is what it looked like. So the goal is in the center there, right? And every cell next to that is the contributing factors towards that goal, and then it's transposed to 8 tasks per contributing factor, right? So we're gonna do that, but with what I'm doing as the goal, right? So if you wanna look at that tweet, here's a QR code you can check out and you can see that tweet. Maybe read more about the Harada method from that tweet because it actually elaborates quite a lot about that. But yeah, we're gonna do that because I set up a spreadsheet myself using that as a framework. And yeah, so if you want that, again, QR code to that spreadsheet with colors and everything else, it's all there. But the QR code is also at the bottom, but in case you just want to get it real quick. Yeah, so I made a mistake while I was making these slides, and the mistake is that I did not define time, right? Time is very important to your goals. Right? You're not going to live forever. So set a deadline for yourself because you do have a deadline. Literally, right? So you're gonna die one day. So achieve that goal very soon. So the goal in this case is a Bitcoin wallet for everyone, but of course, missing a deadline. So a Bitcoin wallet, let's get a year. What was the deadline for this? Yeah, which year? 2026. So a Bitcoin wallet for everyone by 2026, right? What would be the contributing factors to that goal? Name anything you want. We're just going to put 8 on the board. Language? Mobile applet? Okay, people don't have ideas. I only have 10 minutes, so I'm not going to wait for you guys. So I already put 8 things there, right? Language is actually good. I should have added that. And mobile applet was also great. I should have added that. But my 8 is receiving Bitcoin, sending Bitcoin, saving Bitcoin, transmitting data, spending Bitcoin, simplicity, speed, and reliability, right? And then what I do is then obviously transpose those to the outer cells and look at the actionable tasks for each of the contributing factors, right? And yeah, so, okay, but let me just run through it. So these would be the 64 actionable tasks, right? And yeah, we're going to go through them bit by bit, but while we're here, the reason I'm doing this is because I enjoy studying champions, right? The people who actually go out and do the things that they set out to do. Some of the champions I enjoy studying are boxers, specifically boxing coaches, right? Because it's kind of crazy to think that you're in a fight and somebody is in your corner telling you things that would make you want to kill your opponent, right? And those things actually work, right? So I've always felt like I need a boxing coach in my life. Just every time I woke up, have somebody in my corner and say, yeah, now you're about to kill this day. Whatever you did the previous round, just keep doing that. And, you have enough stamina to last the full 12 rounds. And yeah, the whole idea with this, though, is that you need a coach. You need somebody to keep you accountable for all of these 64 actionable tasks on a daily basis, right? And the crazy thing is, if you go through this exercise and you set this thing up, it's very hard for you to not achieve a goal if every day you do the 64 actionable tasks that contribute towards your goal, right? No matter what that goal is. And the whole idea with this thing is that you take a big goal, abstract goal, but you break it down into 64 actionable tasks. And even better if you have maybe that coach I was talking about that could actually keep you accountable. But the other idea about that is you become self-reliant. So you don't need, whether the coach is there or the coach is not there, you will be able to every day work on these tasks. So yeah, on our side, receiving Bitcoin, if for a wallet, basically for Machangura, receiving Bitcoin is something we do instantly via Lightning, but we can also support on-chain, right? And then there's a buy Bitcoin thing, and earning Bitcoin rewards, redeeming vouchers, then invoicing income taxes in the marketplace. So I like the ones at the bottom, right? So these are features we technically don't have yet in the Machangura app, right? Like if you're running a business and you want to get paid in Bitcoin, you should issue your customer an invoice. And if there's income taxes, which sadly they always are, the wallet you're using or the platform you're using should make all of those easier so that you can focus on your business. And then a marketplace as well, so you have a place to go to sell these things, right? And yeah, so for now, there's a gap in the Machangura platform for everything at the bottom, but we actually did most of the other things quite well, except the buy Bitcoin, but I'm going to come back to that later, right? And then the sending Bitcoin side, the same thing. You can send on-chain, you can send Lightning. There's spending policies, like maybe you don't want to spend everything in one day, so you can set up a limit to say, only spend this much in a day. Shared UTXOs, now we're getting technical. The ARC people talked about shared UTXOs, and then there's Frost. This is for me, I'm a nerd, so there's always new technology. Shout out to the FrostNap guys, right? So they're creating threshold signature hardware wallets, and we do use Frost somewhere in our system, as the technical detail. This is not a technical talk. And Usig as well. It's like similar to Frost, but technical again. Additive batching. We also do additive batching, right? So if you're a customer and you want to send on-chain funds, it takes like 10 minutes for an on-chain transactions to get mined, right? But if another customer comes along and wants to send on-chain funds as well, what we do is replace by a fee and add your transaction to the previous customer's transaction, and they send out in the same transaction. Right? That is what additive batching is. So technically, as a customer, you don't have to wait for, let's say, whatever schedule we spend on-chain. You just put it out, and then we will batch it with whoever wants to send after you in the future before the transaction gets mined. And then we do savings. And then privacy payments, very important. Pay join, silent payments, so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. Sadly, we're not doing that yet. Right? So then the other thing I would be doing, or people on my team would be doing, is looking at, okay, we don't do privacy payments as much as we could, knowing that there's pay joins and everything else. How could we better support privacy payments, whether this is eCash, whether this is pay join, whether this is silent payments, or whatever else? Very important things to have, and it helps the entire ecosystem when we all do it. And saving Bitcoin, of course, self-custody, the best way to save your Bitcoin. If the Machangura service gets shut down, you still have self-custody of the Bitcoin you saved. Collaborative custody, if you don't want to lose access to your funds by just losing a wallet, you just collaborate with other parties to save your Bitcoin, even though you are the person who's mostly in control of that. Cold storage, of course, don't keep it on the internet. Group savings, we have clans. Inheritance, you're gonna die, yet again, deadline, right? So leave it for your kids and have something there. We don't have inheritance now. Gold saving, that's clans again. Increased spending friction. This is kind of related to the spending policies again, and then capital gains taxes, because yet again, give to whoever is your king what is due to your king. And transmitting data, internet, easiest way, quickest way to do it. GSM, this is what we do with the USSD. We're also doing it via SMS. In some countries, there's going to be a new country announced that we do SMS. But anyway, I'm going to skip to all these other things because you get the gist. I'm almost out of time. So spending Bitcoin simplicity is always important. Keep it simple for your users. Speed, Lightning, on-chain, blah, 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 blah. Reliability. Have some accounting in your app, please. Right? Electrum Wallet, fun fact, had great accounting functionality for Bitcoin Wallet a long time ago. And every other Bitcoin wallet after Electrum Wallet is a regression in terms of accounting, right? And well, I saw Phoenix Wallet is kind of putting back some of these features, so that's a good thing. But yeah, even me, I'm saying it's a regression, but I'm also, a criminal in that regard. So relatively cheap compliance, redundancy. Some of your customers need the compliance. Sad. This is sad to say, but not everyone is going to have self-custody. But give those that need the compliance the option to do a compliant wallet, right? Or to use a compliant wallet. So yeah, back to it. Oh, this is it. You can also, pick maybe something that's abstract and then set that as a goal and focus on that, right? And this is what I like about the Harada method. You can also make your actionable tasks an abstract goal to achieve. But anyway, I'm out of time. That's the QR code if you want to check it out. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention and have a wonderful conference. And shout out to Farida and Nabila.
Yeah, mine always work.
I think the most important thing from what we just heard is the reminder that there's deadline, there's deadline for life and deadline for anything that we may want to achieve. So thank you so much. Truly appreciate that. Well, I'm sure many of you are aware that till now, about 600 million Africans are still without electricity. And I'm so excited that one of the things that Bitcoin is as a tool is a way of mining electricity for us here in Africa. With projects done in Kenya, in Malawi, in Zambia, Gridless has been transforming lives in various African communities. And this is one of those presentations that I wish that African leaders would listen to, because obviously they are not getting it, and this could actually help them. It can really help our market. So please, the CEO of Gridless is here to talk to us about how Bitcoin can help in powering Africa. Let's give it up for Eric Hertzman.
Good morning. So I'm actually not going to give you a talk about Gridless today. I'm also one of the people who represents GAMA, which is the Green Africa Mining Alliance, which is really a body that a bunch of miners across Africa are a part of. And we all use GAMA in different ways. But one way that we all use it together is to have an event and to also share information on how to do mining with other people. And I need the clicker. Hold on one second. Can I have the clicker? Thank you. All right. So at Gridless, we've done a few things like this. We put out some papers on how energy and Bitcoin mining work together, so that other people can model it. We've released our plans for a Bitcoin mining container so that you can build your own wherever you are. So we're continuing to do that with this. But I actually want to start off with this conversation and something that I had this experience that changed the way I thought about Bitcoin mining. And it wasn't sitting in a data center, it wasn't sitting at one of our rural, run-of-river sites, and it wasn't sitting in one of our Bitcoin mines. It was in a dusty grain mill in rural Zambia. And the interesting thing about when we put electricity in, or when we see electricity come into these communities, is that one of the first things that happens is some local entrepreneur builds a grain mill, right? Because beforehand, people would have to go 10 to 15 kilometers to go and mill their grain, but now they can go 50 to 500 meters away, and it's a big help, and everybody needs it. But I got a phone call, and this gentleman in Zambia told me, you know, there's 84 people, mostly farmers, who have invested in buying solar to run grain mills. Can you come and set up Bitcoin mining on them because we don't use all of our electricity? And I was like, well, that's a really hard ask, right? Because if you have a 15 kilowatt solar site and you have a Bitcoin miner that takes 3.5 kilowatts, you can only put 1 or 2 at a site. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So it doesn't make a lot of sense because the scattered approach is really expensive operationally. Like to do maintenance and support, you've got to drive all over the country in order to do it. So it's very difficult. It doesn't make good business. But this stuck with me for a while. And I was like, this is a problem, and it's something here is solvable. This idea of being scattered is just another word for decentralized, which is what Bitcoin mining, the Bitcoin network, wants to be. So with much of the continent running off of these small off-grid industries, is there something that we can do together? Is there some way to bridge these two? So this was in my mind for a long time. We started talking about it internally a lot. You know, we've got these small electricians, we've got these carpenters, we've got these people running irrigation systems. They come in all shapes and sizes. So how do you unlock Bitcoin for millions of small producers with intermittent, unpredictable power, right? It's a complicated thing. And by the way, one of the interesting facts I read was just last year, installations under 1 megawatt made up about 42% of all the new solar capacity added globally last year. Many of those in small businesses. So here's your challenge. You start off with somebody that has an existing solar system. And that existing solar system charges something on their farm or in their small industry. Oftentimes they have batteries. And those batteries, when they get full, the solar keeps running, the sun is still out, but they're not charging anything anymore. They're wasting energy. And finally, the question was, could you bolt something onto this that kind of demystified Bitcoin mining to people who aren't really technical, make it as simple as possible so that they could start Bitcoin mining on these same energy sites? So it turns out that whether you're a farmer in Zambia, a rancher in Texas, you overbuild your system, right? And you overbuild your system if you're welding, or if you're running a grain mill or an irrigation system. You always have to do that because the intermittent part of solar means that you need to have extra. So we already know these businesses buy batteries. They already have the inverters. They already have the electrical cabinets. What if they bought a battery that stored Bitcoin instead of electricity? So today we're announcing the Jua Kali project. Jua Kali, for those of you who don't know, is just the guys who work on the side of the road in Kenya. It's like the same term for blue collar from the US. It's this idea that these people just build things and do things on their own. How does Jua Kali work? The simplest way to think about it is that once your batteries are full, it spills over into something else that it thinks is a battery, but actually just runs Bitcoin mining the whole time. Anyone should be able to build it. Installers everywhere can deploy it, and old hash boards find new life. So it's a 12-volt mining system that sits quietly in the corner of your small business. Maybe not quietly though, because we all know how Bitcoin miners make noise. So what do the economics look like for our farmers, okay? So we built a couple of these. So if our 15 kilowatt Zambia grain miller is mining about 6 hours a day, so when he's not using his batteries or doing the irrigation, the cost for this is about $1,500. So not super cheap, but you have to remember he's already put in $8,000 to $10,000 on the system. His revenue per kilowatt hour, we're estimating is 6 cents. You can see the assumptions in the middle where hash price is at $40. That goes up and down. We're talking about last gen miners. So these are 30 joules per terahash. So S19s, WhatsMiner M30Ss. The daily hours of operation, 6, right? What we are expecting is him to see up to about $150 per month. And that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it is when it's something that's been wasted this whole time and you could earn extra. And you're earning it in a currency that doesn't devalue like your local one. So if you size up to like a 50 kilowatt US small industry, you make more money. It costs a little bit more to start it, so $4,700. And these prices, by the way, are you buying the components by yourself, you assembling it, you installing it, okay? These prices are high right now because the cost of the components and the things we're finding are not being optimized yet for this system, right? Like we're still going through the process. So what you're seeing is this developer release, and the first iterations are always a little bit more expensive than the next ones. So the idea is that it's bare bones. It can be built anywhere. If you were flying on Kenya Airways from Nairobi to Mauritius a couple days ago, we had a couple of these, and they look a little bit like an IED. We did make it through customs with them, and I said one of the things that needs to happen is you need to make it as simple as possible, right? You need to actually make it something that ordinary people can set up. So it means the dashboard itself, the setup for the actual mining pool, the miner name, all those things have to be done as simply as possible. So this is actually the UI. You choose the battery type if you're doing a lead acid or a LiFePO, and then mining pool is actually just defaulted to Ocean right now. You can put in a Bitcoin mining wallet, you name your worker, and your dashboard's set up and you're ready to go. That's all you have to do for data input. And then you start getting data as you turn it on. The system flowchart for engineers in the room, this is interesting. For everybody else, it's boring. That's okay. What I'd really like to do though, and if you guys are up for it, would you like to see a demo? Yes. All right, well, first off, we're open sourcing this and it's live today, okay? We've had a lot of help from other people, Block, Epic. Because we use WhatsMiners, we have to use the Epic control board, and it's fantastic. On that site, on the GitHub repo, you'll see the equipment list, the BMS, the MMS. You'll see the instructions for how to put it together, the firmware, everything is located, and you can find it there. If you have any questions, you can just contact us, and we can give you any updates. We are looking for people to adjust this for Bitmain as well. All right, so let's go ahead and bring one out. All right, thanks to my two sexy helpers. All right, so can you tell which one of these is the miner? The one with the fan on it, right? Okay, what's interesting about this is imagine a solar panel sitting over here, and you have your other bank of batteries. It just looks like another battery, right? It's just part of the system. You just put it on a rack. It's really boring and uninteresting to people who don't know what they're looking at. Under the hood, you can choose however many hash boards you want to put in there. In this case, there's 2. You can put 3. All these components you can buy on Alibaba. So you can find them. If you can't find them locally, you can buy them on Alibaba and send them in. It can run off of a 12-volt car battery as the backup. So even when the sun goes down or the batteries need the power, what actually happens is that the batteries are full. So it doesn't turn on until this battery is full, okay? It senses that it's full and it turns the miner on. If there's cloud cover for a certain number of minutes or the power is being drawn on from the irrigation system or the welding to actually do the work, it senses that because this dips first. What happens after that is the miner turns it off immediately, okay? So it becomes this economic shock absorber for the small businesses in Africa, Asia, Europe, America, anywhere in the world, this is useful. And this is why we think it's so important. We think that innovation can come from Africa, right? That we can bring new things out that happen to be useful here, but also everywhere else in the world. Now, what we also built is just another demo one so you can see it. This is the system right here without all the cables. You can put it in your own box. You don't need to have it sitting in a battery box like I do. You can put it in a styrofoam container, a wooden box, it doesn't matter. However you decide to make it, it's yours, right? So the idea is that you customize these for your needs, for where you are, with the materials that you have at hand. So we believe that if Bitcoin mining is only done by large Bitcoin miners, then it's not decentralized enough. This is our way to give back to the community, to push the Bitcoin network further out so it's more decentralized, and push electrification even further in Africa. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, I got blocked by the way as we're leaving out. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Eric. That was an amazing presentation. Yes, we are going smoothly. We're still on track. If you could check your time, it's just 9 a.m. Thank you so much for coming early today. We are going to close very early, so everybody should just stay online. Hey, KK, what's up? You got our shirt? Awesome. How many of you have gotten our merch? No hands. Wow. Wow. Please try and get our ABC merch. It's downstairs. I'm sure it's very much affordable, right? And it's accept BTC as our payment. So please, let's do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we have amazing speakers available for us today. We've had KG, we've had Max, we've had Eric, and now we're bringing on two amazing people for a fireside chat on building community power through digital freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome on stage Farida Naburema and Obi Mosu.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning again, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Do you have a mic? Your mic. All right.
I just project my voice very far. This is just my...
Well, that's amazing. Thank you all, and I would like you to help me welcome Obi Nwosu, the founder and CEO of Fedi, one of the most amazing platforms that we have in the Bitcoin space that is used to help people access internet, communicate freely, and also be able to use and access Bitcoin. Obi has actually been in the tech space for very long and in the Bitcoin space for much longer. You founded...
You can tell from the hair.
Definitely. You founded one of the first Bitcoin exchange platforms globally in the UK, I believe, and which was sold almost a decade ago.
I mean, we operated it for about a decade, and it was sold. The sale process always took a while, but it was sold 6 to 12 months before I set up with my co-founder Fedi.
All right, and it has been a shift from operating a trading platform to now building a platform that powers communities. Can you tell us what that journey looked like and why you chose to make that shift?
Well, yeah, I think the summary is if you've operated a regulated Bitcoin exchange for even more than a few years, you would very much want to transition away from having to deal with it and the challenges related to that. After trying for years to get a number of our users to self-custody Bitcoin, hold Bitcoin, and working with regulators, actually in the end, by the end of the company around the world, you realize that it was really, really important to get people to find ways to not only self-custody or custody away from regulated exchange, third-party custody, but also to provide them mechanisms to have privacy. And what you were seeing in the regulated space was less and less tools to give people default privacy, which was the reason why Bitcoin was inspired in the first place. And also you saw more and more sort of systemic risks with the centralization related to these things. Even though they would seem to be very reliable institutions, again and again, you had these incredible failures, which would cause the loss of funds or the locking up of funds for years of many, many people. So we wanted to put the power back into the hands of individuals. And if we couldn't do that, put it in the hands of the people they trust the most, i.e. friends, family, their community.
Right. I see that privacy is pretty key to the work that Fedi does and to the platform itself. In a world where we literally spend more time online than we spend with our communities, it seems that privacy is one of the key issues that seem to be prevalent for anyone who is a digital user. How does Fedi address the issue of privacy, and why especially do you focus so much on privacy?
Yeah. So, you know, Fedi is a private Bitcoin wallet. And we make a big point of that because unfortunately, more and more people are providing solutions which lose the privacy element for convenience. If you go back, Bitcoin and many other protocols like Signal, the messaging app, WikiLeaks, all of these things were inspired by a movement, and it was the cypherpunk movement. And one of the rallying calls for that movement was this thing called the Cypherpunk Manifesto. And in this manifesto, it was a call to arms. Now, it's one of the things that people know about this is it's the statement, cypherpunks write code. And that's an important part of it, but it was only mentioned 3 times in the manifesto. 22 times was mentioned that private is key, privacy is key. The first sentence is privacy is necessary for an open society in the digital age. And this was over 30 years ago. It was understood this was the case. So we, and hopefully more people, we see this with Cashew, we see it with White Noise, but we work to make privacy the default. It shouldn't be something that should be feared. It should be something that should be understood as essential for freedom.
Absolutely, privacy is indeed essential for freedom. And as someone who has been challenging autocracy in many ways, I can tell that digital surveillance and surveillance in general is growing across the world, and more even in countries that are ruled by autocratic regimes. Fedi has been a platform that is pretty pluralistic because you're not just focused on one type of communities. They're used by individuals, by groups, by communities. I want you to walk us through the type of support or the type of communities that are embodied on Fedi. Give us a few examples of what they do to show people the variety and the diversity of the users of an app like Fedi, and why Fedi solves the issues that they are facing in these different spaces.
Yeah, so our view is everybody needs privacy. So we've made a tool that can be used by anybody, whether they're a family, an individual, a company, or a country, if you break it down into different parts. But where we started, and in fact, what led to the birth of Fedi as an organization was a trip to Oslo, to the Oslo Freedom Forum, which was the marquee event and is still the marquee event of the Human Rights Foundation. And that's actually just before I think I met you briefly in Miami after talking about FediMint, which is the protocol behind Fedi, the engine that makes it work. And then Alex convinced me to go to a cold country, which I'm very bad at doing, to see more people like yourself. And it was there that I met, we had more time to talk, and I met many other human rights defenders. I heard their stories. I cried at many of the stories. I was shocked, and I was also just in awe of the bravery. And I also realized that these people, unfortunately, are living in the future. Someone mentioned yesterday, it might have been Hadia, where she said that if you are thirsty, you know what water looks like. And human rights defenders, because they live under the yoke of authoritarian regimes who control their digital communication, who control and surveil their payments and storage of their money, they will confiscate and they will track. And if you do something that they don't like, they will arrest, torture, and kill. They understand implicitly the need for privacy. And so because of that, and because we believed that we had a solution to help them, we set up Fedi. And we have learned from them over the last 3.5 years. And we built a product which, because we are dealing with people who have the problem right now, it solves problems that they have right now, which are hard to see if you live in a world where privacy doesn't seem to be such an issue for you.
You actually put it so beautifully, and what you mentioned bring back a few things to me. Oftentimes, I have been asked by people, why do you, as an activist, get yourself involved into the Bitcoin space and the tech space? And when I first joined such initiatives, I realized that we were operating quite in silos. And I have to give it to the Human Rights Foundation for really pushing hard to bring activists into the tech space and bring technologies also into the activist space, because we don't often talk to each other. The regimes, the governments, the institutions that repress and abuse human rights actually do so by investing in repressive technology. Interestingly, there are also technologies that are out there to boost freedom, which are called freedom tech. So it is really important to bring people into these separate worlds together. Before meeting the activists, you did have a protocol built called Fedimint that you were working on, but you didn't really see the specific need for people like us and people like other activists out there and that are facing repression and abuse. And bringing those two together was able to create a beautiful product that is now serving the community. But I also get to understand that FEMI is not limited to activists and human rights defenders. It is used by individuals in a variety of spaces. And I want you to give us a few examples of some of the communities and the projects that have come out through Fedi and how you have been able to support them.
Yeah, but before I do that, a quick word on what you just said. It's completely true. I think the entire Bitcoin space holds a debt of gratitude to the Human Rights Foundation and what they did and what they continue to do. They're unsung heroes, but if it wasn't for them, for example, for me, it changed my life. I would have sold my company, ran for a decade, and probably been relaxing somewhere. But instead, I've made incredible friends, and my eyes have been opened. It isn't just the human rights community that benefits from Bitcoin, but it's also Bitcoin benefits from the human rights community. As I said, they are living in the future. They are the people that you need to get to know, understand, and help and support. One, you will change the lives of hundreds of millions or billions of people around the world. But also, two, you will build a product and service that whatever it is you wanted to originally achieve, by default, it will be achieved because you now have users who actually care about it and have the problem, and you're solving their problem. And by solving their problem, you'll solve it for everyone else by default. And that's what we found. So some of the examples of who we're working with, of course, when it comes to human rights defenders, we can't go into specific details, but there have been recently, for example, a country in Latin America we worked with to provide the Fedi solution with Fedimint in the back end. And we provide mechanisms to provide funding directly to the ground, to activists and journalists on the ground in country, support and training externally. And this was used to fund when they couldn't use the banking system. Actually, in many cases, people had to escape the country. who were at threat of their life and liberty. And again, if they were to use the banking system, they would have been tracked, caught, and arrested. And instead, working with our partners in the human rights space, we were able to help them in some small part, at least providing the technology solution for them to escape the region. Another example that we're working with actively in East Africa, predominantly in Kenya, and a little bit in South Africa, is providing mechanisms for people to have satellite internet paid for in sats. And the thinking here is, for many people in the Bitcoin space, we have had this view that Bitcoin is first this store of value, and then at some point, well, one, you have education, which is important. You educate people to use Bitcoin as a store of value. And then from a store of value, they start saying, I want to acquire more Bitcoin. Effectively, Bitcoin becomes a unit of account in their mind for their level of success or wealth. And then eventually, at some point in the distant future, maybe they will, when they've run out of any other money, they may start using Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. And then you'll start buying, and when the world changes, you start paying your rent and food and so on, your necessities in Bitcoin. One of the things that we are seeing, and we're very excited about exploring further, and we're doing a lot of work on, is this concept of what I like to say is backwards thinking is correct, BTC. And actually, you should start the other way around. You should start with necessities. In this case, we're looking at things that people, wherever they are on the income spectrum, they buy. We just observe what they do. We don't try to come in and tell people what to do. And for example, people will always buy food. Doesn't matter what your situation is. They will buy shelter. Most people will buy and invest in education and medicine for themselves and their family. They will buy, nowadays, they will power and energy of one form or another is a necessity. And so also in the modern era is internet. And so we have been providing satellite internet paid for in sats. We don't explain what sats are. They just see it as maybe it's the currency of this satellite internet service. We don't start with the education. We start with providing a necessity, but at significantly reduced price compared to what they would pay alternatively. One condition, you must pay for it in sats. So then they figure out how to acquire sats to pay for it. So you start with the necessity. That gives them a medium of exchange, which is sats to pay. And very quickly, they start accumulating a certain amount of sats every month to cover their costs. So they see it as a unit of account. And then they notice that the amount of sats they need to pay for their internet is going down over time. So they get a lived-in experience of what inflation is. So therefore, they start saving. And again, it's very early days, but we're seeing that in the communities that we're doing this. Without being told, we're seeing numbers of 25, 30% of people, and it's probably now, if I check, probably rising, have decided to unilaterally start saving this sats thing. And then some people want to understand, how does this thing work? And that's when the education comes in last. So that's another example. We're working with many of the communities here in this room. We're very excited to see how that progresses as well.
It is actually interesting that you mention how education comes last in the process, because oftentimes we tend to think that people need to be thoroughly educated about Bitcoin before starting using it.
And Australian economics and so on before they get one sat.
And one of the examples that I like using is that most people don't know how phones operate technically.
Or their fridge, or their microwave,
but they still use
or their
them.
car.
So we need to make Bitcoin more user-friendly as well. And that will facilitate adoption. And through that, people can now deepen their knowledge and understanding. A lot of the work you do is in the Global South. And of course, operating in the Global South comes with a lot of challenges. And you should share with us what have been some of the challenges in working in those spaces, and what lessons have you learned throughout this journey? It may be helpful for some people here.
Yeah, a lot of challenges. And a lot of learnings. It will be much easier to build a system that's centralized, no privacy in the West. It will be about somewhere between 1,000 times and 10,000 times simpler. But someone had a really good way of describing our product, saying it's maximum viable product. It's a minimum viable product, because the things you have to get working to work in the global south are, if someone comes from the West and doesn't have the context, something that seems very simple, like this event, Africa Bitcoin Conference, it would be, you have to figure out, even in some places, you have to figure out electricity. How do people get there? How do people get visas? Where if I put it in a country or a town in the US, and most people come from the US, I don't have to think about any of these things, which add incredible complexity. So one is recognizing that there's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be put in place. And so if you're looking at working in this region, and if you're definitely looking at regions where you're in countries that are under the yoke of authoritarian regimes, your access to people is also restricted. You may not even be able to enter the country yourself. So you have to figure out working with people at borders and all this sort of stuff, or neighboring countries. But the most important lesson, I think, is a lot of people say, stay humble, stack sats, and all this sort of stuff. However humble you think you're being, you need to take it down several levels of being more humble. The understanding of the problem and how to solve it, it's very, very easy, even if you think you're not doing it, to start to solution as opposed to start to listen. And we've taken 3.5 years, and I think most of that time was spent unlearning all of the learned assumptions that we had, and just taking it down a notch and seeing what works and observing with people on the ground. But go to people who actually have the problems today, the problems that everybody will have in future. And so that's the main learning. Be very humble, and then realize that that's not humble enough. And we're still on a journey of trying to just learn and be humble and benefit and gain from that.
You know, working in this ecosystem will humble you by force.
Yeah.
So actually, when you mentioned this and you talk about how organizing a conference may seem easy, but behind the scene, when you're in Africa, it's a whole new contest. I'm going to share a quick story about that. I'm no longer the director of ABC, so I think I'll leave Nabila deal with the problems later. But when we started our journey in 2022, it was in Ghana, our very first conference. And visa processes are extremely complicated for a lot of African nations. For many of our attendees in different parts of the world, and even in Africa, they don't even have a Ghanaian embassy in their country. There was no way for them to do an e-visa. They will have to ship their passports to other countries. And there were even 2 people who lost their passports in the process. So it got to a point where we were so close to the event, and a huge number of people still couldn't get a visa. And we were compelled to approach the immigration services and said, please help us. The event is in a few weeks. We need the visa. On arrival, can you help the process? They said, yes, we'll do that. But then it's going to cost you extra. And the official visa fees were already $160 per person. And we were required to pay an additional $50 per person in bribe. Money we can't go to the partners and the attendees and tell them, you're going to receive a receipt for $160, but then you're paying $210. So who had to bear the cost of that invisible bribe? It was ABC. And we didn't have the choice. And of course, I was infuriated, but it didn't stop there. The second year of ABC, the same situation happened. But this time around, because they found that it was a Bitcoin conference, the first conference, Jack Dorsey was there, billionaire, they were like, we can make more money. So they told us this time around, they're going to increase the fees for us. $50 as a bribe to process visas that they're supposed to process in addition to paying the regular fees wasn't enough. So they increased the price, and we were like, this is just crazy. We can't do that. But they got smarter than us. They said, okay, let us settle on the $50. We'll deliver the visa. A few days to the event, people were complaining, reaching out. We still haven't gotten our visas. What's going on? We're traveling in 2 days, in 3 days. So we were panicking, went back to the immigration people and said, we have given everything long ago for the visas to be processed. What's taking so long? They said, well, they have changed their mind. If we want the visas, you have to increase what we have paid extra. We have to double it. We had more than 100 applications staying there. We already lost $5,000 initially. We had to lose another 5K, a little more than 5K, because it was like a little over 120 people. Those are costs that you can't explain to anyone and that you can't even talk about. The third year when we went to Kenya, interestingly, the immigration officer's contact was in my WhatsApp. So I posted on my statute that ABC was coming to Kenya. And he reached out and he said, oh, you guys are not doing the conference in Ghana this year? I said, no, we are going to Kenya. And he was like, why? And I said, well, you know, Ghana is too corrupt and the system is very complicated. And he replied, oh my God, the corruption in this country is too much. And it's making investors run away. It's so unfortunate. Funny enough, he didn't see what they did as corruption. But what I'm trying to say here before we wrap up is that when you want to do business in this country, I believe you can have the best degrees from the top business schools in the world. Africa is a whole new terrain. And the sad part is that as much as I was so angry about what happened in Ghana, and I'm like, never again, we're not going back. And we found out that Mauritius was visa-free for most African nations. That was one of the reasons why we chose to come this far. When on Sunday or Saturday, we found out about our guys that were being deported for no reason, no fault of theirs. They had their accommodation ready and everything. Can you imagine that I missed the corruption? I was like, I wish there was someone that I can just bribe.
Pay the money to. Oh my days. Oh my days. So, I mean, I think it's, Africa is like the Wild West of the US of old, but the Wild West was also the time of the greatest opportunity. That's the time that built pioneers. So the positive side is it builds, and it builds your character, it builds my character, and all of, you know, Bernard from Bitnob, I always, every day, I just never know how he's able to build what he does in Nigeria. You know, that you should understand, there's Africa, then there's Nigeria in terms of complexity. So, you know, it builds our character. And I said, Bitcoin is the first anti-fragile money. And this is Bitcoin plus Africa builds anti-fragile innovators and entrepreneurs. And that means we build anti-fragile products. And those are the products that eventually will win and take over and provide solutions to the 8 and soon 9 or 10 billion people on this planet. So we should feel the pain, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so I'm just grateful. It allows me to connect to other super inspirational people, and they've all been forged and been forged in the fires of the challenge they've dealt with, and that makes them better people. And I'm grateful for that.
I was going to ask for your final words, but I think this sums that very well. Thank you so much, Obi. Thank you.
Don't forget to take pictures. Pictures. Another round of applause for them, please. So the next discussion will be all about designing wallets that works for everyone. And we have two of the most influential builders in the wallet ecosystem discussing what it takes to craft tools that combine usability, security, and true self-custody. Please help me to welcome the moderator of this panel, the founder of Bitcoin Dada, Lorraine Marcel, and her two guests, Igor Kosakov and Evan Kaludis. Please help me welcome them to the stage.
Hi. It wasn't dramatic enough, right? I was hoping for a more dramatic entrance, but unfortunately, this is all you got. But Thank you. So with me today, I have two amazing builders in the space who actually take time to build the one thing that we normally ask ourselves as we get into this Bitcoin journey. How do we safely start our sites? So I'm going to call in Igor and Evans from Blue Wallet and Zeus. A round of applause for them, please.
Bonjour madame, bonjour monsieur, ça va?
Caribou. Okay, so let's start again. So my name is Lorraine Marcel. I'm the founder of Bitcoin Dada and Dada Devs as well. And would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, so my name is Igor Korsakov. I'm the creator of Blue Wallet, which is mobile Bitcoin wallet for iOS and Android. We've been around for a long time, since 2018. A lot of people use it, a lot of people love it. I hope you guys do too.
Hey all, my name's Evan Kaludis. I'm the founder of a Bitcoin wallet called Zeus, also for mobile, iOS, and Android. Started in 2019 more as like a remote controller. If you were a hardcore remote node runner, you can connect to it remotely, check your node, and make payments from anywhere in the world. 2023, we went full time on it. We put a full wallet in the node, a full Lightning node in the app, started up our LSP. And yeah, and we're looking to make the app more accessible with the new, what we're calling graduated wallet. So really excited about it and think it can be used widely throughout Africa. So
Yeah.
super excited.
Yeah,
to
they
be here.
forgot to mention we've been best friends since 2022. Not sure. Well, anyway, so let's get into it. So both Zeus and Blue Wallet have become foundational wallets for users for different reasons. And before we go deep, I just want to ask each of you, what does the art of self-custody mean to you?
Just everything. I mean, it means that you're in control of your financial destiny. No one can interfere with that. No one can prevent you from sending or receiving money and getting the things that you need to get done in your life. It's sovereignty, it's freedom, it's control, it's empowerment. So it's a foundational staple of Bitcoin, and if we're not constantly championing it, we're doing ourselves a great disservice.
Yeah, this is a very good question, because I like to repeat that security is a spectrum, and one side of the spectrum is pocket change, like very small amounts you really don't care about. The other side of the spectrum is your life savings. They should be really secure. So we champion the approach of going gradually from very simple, when you can have single SIG, hot wallet on your device. It's very easy to start with Blue Wallet, and then you gradually, as you're building your stack, you're gradually increasing your security. You're moving to multi-sig, you're moving to hardware wallets, and really this is the difference between super convenient to spend and very hard to spend, because it should be really well protected, so you're not accidentally shooting yourself in the foot. And big amounts should be secured with the best standards, which is usually setup of hardware wallets, multi-sig setup from different vendors.
Mhm. And you mentioned earlier on, you mentioned that you've been working on Blue Wallet since 2018. And what are some of the biggest shifts you've seen in how people use wallets over the past decade?
Well, Lightning wallets became a thing. This is good. Before that, we only had just on-chain. We had pretty good hardware wallets emerge that become very easy to buy a hardware device, pair it with your wallet, and be somewhat confident that it's not going to disappear one day, because the hardware wallets are pretty good and the user experience with hardware wallet and software wallet are pretty good.
Speaking of the Lightning Network, I feel like people in the audience want to ask the same question that I want to ask you. What happened?
With Lightning and Blue Wallet? Yeah, so it was custodial. We shut it down because we didn't want to do custodial stuff. Life is too short to work on custodial solutions. So for a while, we were looking for a solution. At some point, we thought LDK is a solution, but it didn't actually work in my mind. So we decided to wait it out and see what smart people actually do in this space, because we're just average guys. So we're looking to see what actually smart people will do.
Mhm.
And these days, I think ARC might be the solution as a scaling to scale actual ownership of UTXOs. And ARC can have native gateways to Lightning, which is essentially Lightning. So if you add ARC to a wallet and Lightning bridge from ARC to Lightning, this is Lightning. You can tell people that this is Lightning because you get atomic swaps from your ARC to Lightning gateway. You can send, receive. This is Lightning.
Okay, so that is what you're currently working on?
Yes, so this is what's coming for Blue Wallet. We're testing it right now. We're working with ARC Labs HQ to deliver ARC inside Blue Wallet, and that will have a Lightning gateway through bolts. So essentially, users will just have Lightning. For users, it will be Lightning. You can create Lightning invoice, you can pay Lightning invoice. This is Lightning for user. But under the hood, it's ARC talking to bolts API non-custodially.
Curious, how many people use Blue Wallet in the? I just want to say, okay, so it's actually popular. Okay, over to you, Zeus. Sorry. So Evans, Zeus is widely seen as the wallet for people who want full control, node operators, Lightning users, technically confident Bitcoiners. When you were building Zeus, what was, the core user pain point you were trying to solve?
To be honest, I was just trying to scratch my own itch. I was like working in a cybersecurity job. I knew Lightning was going to help scale Bitcoin, and I set up a Lightning node, and I just wanted to track it when I was going into the city on the train. So I scratched my own itch, made my first mobile app after being a web developer and just working on other parts of the stack. I had never done a mobile app. But now the goal is very much different. Like the app has evolved. So it's just, instead of having to set up a node or buy one in the cloud, you just hit one button and you have a full Lightning node, and you can self-custody, pay an invoice, and get a channel from our Lightning service provider. But I don't think that's easy enough yet. Most users don't want to have to pay, even if it's $10 or $5 worth to try out an app. There's a real cost to like economic self-custody. And there's also complexities with the concepts of like channels and inbound liquidity, outbound liquidity, constraints on how much you can send and receive. So what we want to do in this new idea of this graduated wallet, where you, in a nutshell, you have this either trusted or custodial or something simple to get the user in the door. We're going to be powering that with Cashew eCash. So the user will get their Cashew wallet. They're going to get a Lightning address so that they can interact with the broader Bitcoin, Lightning, Nostr ecosystem, be able to receive payments asynchronously. And as their balance builds up, the wallet is going to sort of nudge them and educate them about self-custody and why it's important. It's going to sort of act as that Bitcoin Sherpa. Like when I was getting into Bitcoin, it was reassuring to have people that I could go to and guide me when I hit certain issues with my wallets. And I think that there's a lot of room to experiment with your actual wallet being that Sherpa for you. And a user can go from having a simple eCash wallet to being a full remote node runner like I was going into the city all those years ago in 2019. We're probably only going to get like a fraction of a % of the people from step 1 to step 3, but it's sort of like a shoot for the stars, you'll land on a cloud thing. Like, let's get everyone to self-custody. But we don't have to overwhelm someone. We can have someone get in the door, have their first aha moment with Lightning, realize the power of it, and then we could educate them about Bitcoin and self-custody and why that's important.
Interesting. As you were speaking, as someone who works with communities and also developers, one of the biggest challenges that we face is having wallets that are easy for users and especially new beginners to use. So how do you balance that when building self-custodial wallets, usability, privacy, security as well? What is your biggest, when you're building the wallet, what is the one factor that you look at the most?
I mean, obviously, the UX is super important, and we want to, the pie right now is so small. We're saying something like, in the United States at least, I'm not sure about the stats in Africa, but there's something like 50 million Americans, own cryptocurrencies, and of that 50 million, only 1 or 2% have made used Bitcoin for payments. So we have a lot of ways to do there, work to do there to, run the tent. But for us, when we're making these decisions about what technology to use, I think the core thing is the privacy and the information that we have on users. We don't want to be in a situation, especially, in the United States recently, things have gotten a little bit better in terms of the regulatory environment, but we've even seen with the Samurai prosecution that there was a lot of user data collected, and we don't want to be in a situation where suddenly the state has all these records of user transaction data that, who and where you're paying to, that's not acceptable for us. So a big reason we went with Cashew in this new graduated wallet scheme is the great privacy that we get with this, with the blind signing. So yeah, that's something to think about every day.
Okay, so privacy.
Yes, so we believe that we need to increase complexity of the wallet gradually. So for example, we have Genius, chief of product in Blue Wallet. So he had this vision that users should start very simple. So basically, if you just install the Blue Wallet and just launch it, you only see one button, create the wallet, and that's it. There's nothing, no bells and whistles. Just create the wallet, write down your seed. Then you can start using it, send, receive. Then you're getting more and more familiar with it. And then you discover that, oh, there are more options. You can go to advanced options. You can you can connect a hardware wallet. You can create multi-sig, and you learn the Bitcoin. It's it becomes your learning journey. So this is how we balance it. You start very simple from a single sig hot wallet. Once you're ready, you can create a multi-sig. Once you're ready, you can purchase the hardware wallet and connect it to Blue Wallet once you're ready, because if you have enough stack, some stashes are not worth buying hardware wallet. If your whole stash is $100, don't waste $100 to buy hardware wallet. You're wasted all, right? So once you're ready, you can do that with Blue Wallet. Speaking of privacy, privacy is an important topic. As I like to say, privacy is hard to gain and easy to lose. And we're not trying to sell privacy because we don't want to lie to people, because this is the worst. When someone thinks that he's safe, he has privacy, and he stakes his life on it. Because literally sometimes your life depends on your privacy. And if the tool fails you for some reason, you and your family might be exposed unexpectedly for you. And this is the worst case. So we don't want to lie to our users and overpromise them on privacy. So that's why we're not trying to sell it as a privacy solution.
Interesting. I'm very passionate when it comes to the UI UX, because I feel that if the ordinary person is not able to use an application or the product, then it's basically useless to us. And if we want to see more Bitcoin adoption, quote unquote, then we need to build solutions, not just the ones that are solutions that are meant for developers, but build solutions with the end user in mind. So yeah, I can say definitely Blue Wallet is simple for the majority. And you've talked about probably, you mentioned knowing stats in the States, but then let's come to Africa, right? A lot of people, as you can see from the audience, have been using Blue Wallet. Anyone who's tried Zeus? Anyone who's tried Zeus? We have a couple. Yay. Awesome. So I know there are people who are interested in actually getting probably to collaborate with you in terms of workshop, in terms of maybe learning more about the product. How can they collaborate with you guys instead of reinventing the wheel?
Come to GitHub, see open issues, try to contribute, create a pull request. Even chip in on the discussions. That's how we developers do it.
Okay, so open source?
Yeah, open source is great. We've got something like 70 code contributors, but also 180 plus translators. We work with 10 plus designers, but even just getting feedback on the app, people testing it early, giving us insights, issues they hit, things that they think could be better. We love the feedback loop, and we try to listen with humility and earnestly try to make that better. And as we're building out the graduated wallet in 2026, we would love to engage with the African communities and see their experience in using it and get feedback and make it the best wallet we can.
So you've been in Africa before, right? So probably
Mauritius.
your first time?
First time,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you've been interacting with the amazing Bitcoiners in the house and you've listened to the stories, the challenges.
Absolutely, it's been
And the amazing work
inspiring, yeah.
most of them have been doing, right? And my question to you is, if you could redesign a wallet, what is the what is the one feature you would insist must be there?
That's a fantastic question. I don't know. I just worry at night about the worst case scenarios, especially in Africa and the dictators we've seen here. I just don't want anything in my product to put people in harm's way. So I think it might be difficult, the path that we go down, trying to make things as private by default. But I think it's worth all the effort that we're putting in to do that. So yeah, it may have started as just a very complex wallet, but over the years we've been able to build things the right way, and that's what we're going to continue to do. And I think it's going to be a great milestone next year, and I'm very excited to get it into the next generation of users' hands.
Well, I have nothing to add. I think the tools we have right now are pretty decent. Both Zeus and Blue Wallet, decent tools.
Yeah, well, that's our time, and thank you. We taking a photo?
Yeah, let's get a photo.
Okay. Yay. Oh, sorry, I forgot. There's an amazing workshop that is happening right now at the Machankura event, and the current, the new CEO or director of, what is it called? The ABC is going to be there. So you do not want to miss this workshop. We also have some goodies for you. Again, it's at Machankura room.
Yeah,
Please.
she's trying to steal all of you. But hold
Yeah,
on.
all of you come.
Hold on, all of you will soon be there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're done with the first session. All right, at the morning session. Hold on before you go. Calm down, Lima, calm down. Sit down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. Please, please. We just have 2 minutes for Ryan. Ryan is going to come up on stage, talk to us a little bit about some of the auction that is going to go on. The auction is going to start from now till the end of tomorrow. So just to go up on stage, talk about the auction, and then we'll give you housekeeping rules, what to do this afternoon, and we'll be done. You've been here since 8. See, she's running away. Sister, who is that? Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Sit down. So please, ladies and gentlemen, make welcome Ryan Donnelly. Ryan, I'm going to stand with you on stage here because you have 2 minutes. A round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, everybody. My name is Ryan Donnelly, and I am a Bitcoiner. I'm super happy to be here. And in my free time, I do some work with the ALS Foundation and the Hal Finney Research Fund. So you guys are all Bitcoiners here, I'm assuming, or hope that you know who Hal Finney is. And you might recognize this photograph. If not, just very quickly, Hal is the first known contributor to Bitcoin, programmer that worked on Bitcoin, very famous in the space, and just a really great person. If you're newer to Bitcoin or you've been in Bitcoin for a long time and you haven't yet, I highly suggest going back and reading a lot of the early history about early Bitcoiners and the work that they did, because it's really fascinating. And a lot of them are really great people that contributed not just to Bitcoin, but also to the free internet as we know it. Hal is unfortunately no longer with us. He died tragically in 2014 of ALS after being diagnosed in 2013. And after he was diagnosed, he and his wife set up the Hal Finney Research Fund to raise money for ALS. And before he passed, they raised over $200,000. And that foundation still goes today. A couple of years ago, Bitcoiners started to get involved, as we do. Hal, you might know, has a very famous tweet that just says "Running Bitcoin" from, I think, January 8th, 2009, as he was starting to work on and run the network. In his free time, he was a very passionate marathon runner. And so Bitcoiners started setting up this Running Bitcoin group where every January, Bitcoiners all over the world run and try to raise money for Hal. So if you have any information or you want information about that, please grab me. I'll be around and love talking to Bitcoiners. I can tell you about how to get involved. But also they do auctions, and they get items from Hal's life and auction them off to folks, with all the money going towards ALS research. And so this is one of those items. So we have like a fun surprise for you guys here. This is that very famous photo of Hal running that you may have seen on Twitter. And this was sent here by his wife, Fran, who runs the research fund in his legacy. So I know that we all like to hold on to our Bitcoin. We don't always love spending it, but 100% of the proceeds, whoever wins, goes directly to the ALS Research Fund. So it's a really phenomenal cause. So this is just an announcement. I'm going to try to set up a display outside and be out there through the rest of the week, and we'll just run the auction, and we're going to start it at 100,000 sats and go from there. So let's get to 1 million and get some sats to a great cause. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This is for a great cause, so let's try and get the money up. All right. Few housekeeping announcements. All workshops are going to be starting now. We have BTC Pay server plugins unlocking more than just payments, hosted by Tobechi in the BitTrust room. We have Bitcoin mining happening in the HRF room, hosted by Philip Watson. We have Living with Bitcoin happening in the Fedi Lounge, hosted by Renata and Modibe. We have Women Building the Future, Advancing Bitcoin Innovation and Leadership, hosted in the Machakura room, happening in the Machakura room, hosted by Lorraine Marcel. Ladies and gentlemen, after the workshop, we have our lunch, and then we are back. All in all, as you're leaving here right now, I don't want to see your faces till 2 o'clock. So please, 2 p.m., let's all get back here to have the afternoon session, and then we close for the day. Thank you so much. My name is Paul, signing out for the morning session. Take care. Just for hand, yes. Let's have a round of applause.